So some of you may know us, some of you might not know us. I'm going to tell you a little bit about who we are, what we do, and a bit about what we did for the World Cup, and our strategy, and the results. Got numbers in here, people like numbers, we can talk about that. So a bit about us. We've been going for 2.5 years now. The first day of the World Cup was our 2-year birthday of going live. When we first launched, we wanted to be very much a experience for fans during the 90 minutes of the game. We use data from Opta, now owned by Perform, to visualise data for fans in real time alongside social media. After the European Championships 2 years ago, we figured out that it was mental for us to be a 90-minute business. You know, no one stops being a football fan at 2 in the morning. So we kind of expanded the business out into social, into editorial. Content is now our biggest division of our team. We produce about 60 articles a day, unique, in-house, either based around stats, data, or some kind of graphic or images. What we do is we try and create very, very large and engaged audiences using the data. We're doing this in a number of ways. It's on the go. We see a big traffic spike in the mornings, people using our native apps and the mobile web to analyse what's been going on, latest transfer rumours, etc., etc. During the day, huge spike at lunchtime when people are going on to look at latest news, match previews. Second screening, obviously when the game is on, that's our premium user. And when I say premium user, what that means is they are spending the most time across our platform. On average, on Premier League games across the web, we hit maybe 38 minutes average dwell time across the platform, which is pretty good for those of you that know you digital. And then we also see a spike on weekends and evenings when people are out with friends or arguing about football, you know, using the Squawka app if you want to know who scored the most left-footed goals from outside the area in away games in the Liga last season. we can do that for you. Who was it, Dave?
Griezmann.
There you go. Squawka Dave, everyone. So we've got to expand it out from this second screen idea to build a more of a portfolio media offering, really. We're doing it across the web, across tablet, and across mobile. We're growing pretty quickly. We don't spend any money on customer acquisition. Dabbled here and there, doesn't really work for us. So we do it through content and through social. Makes much more sense. As of 10 days ago, we were the 6th biggest football website in the UK, judged by unique users. So Simon and Goal.com, far and away at number 1, FIFA second, Live Score, the only other independent in this list at third, PremierLeague.com, ManUnited.com, and then us. We're not very far away from Motorbike, not very far away from overtaking ManchesterUnited.com.
Wow.
Not very far. List of our top 10 markets is probably the same for anybody who owns a football website these days. Got quite a few awards, won't dwell on these are all relatively recent. We're a consumer internet business. We have a very, very big reach on a daily basis. Yesterday we had over 525,000 unique users using Squawka. None of that was paid, it was all organic. We don't really need a PR agency to go out there and extol our virtues to football fans. However, the bits that have been picked up in the industry press have been pretty cool. I'll talk more about that later. So, World Cup, and what we did for the World Cup. It was really, really interesting because obviously as soon as we started this business, you kind of realise that, hang on a minute, there's a World Cup in a couple of years. That should be our milestone. That should be what we're building towards. We've got to test and prove certain products and understand if football fans like them or not. So we had to really test and prove many, many different products in many, many different ways over the last 2 years. So what we released for the World Cup is what we believed was what fans were looking for. Informative, fun, engaging are the 3 keywords of our business. I must make it very clear that we didn't start this business with these 3 keywords. At all. And we didn't have an ad agency working a long time to try and come up with it. It was something that happened very, very organically. It's something that happened organically after having millions and millions and millions of people using our products and listening to their feedback and looking at what they were engaging with. And this is kind of what we came out with. So this was very, very high on our minds when we were thinking about the World Cup and how we were going to strategize for the World Cup, how we're going to deploy. And you know, this happened like 6 or 7 months before the World Cup started. So what you'll see is a result of that strategy. So the main thing was thinking about fans. The main thing was thinking about, well, who are Squawka users? Who are potential Squawka users? What do these football fans want in the world's biggest football competition? The result was a line of thinking around this. Everyone seen Iron Man? Who hasn't seen Iron Man? Put your hand up. Seriously, guys? Tim! You gotta watch Iron Man? Rawnet will supply you with DVD copies of Iron Man. Streaming. Get a Netflix account. So this is Tony Stark. He's turns into Iron Man. Billionaire, playboy, genius. Our thinking was very much around, you know what? Every football fan is already Tony Stark. They're already hip, they're already loved, they're already tooled up, they've got gadgets. Squawka is not going to give them all these things, because these things already exist. Twitter already exists. We're not trying to recreate something that's already there, that fans are already using en masse. That's mad. Why would we do that? What we're looking to do is augment that somehow and take in all these wonderful things we know about fans and give them something more. On the hip side, they're already on Twitter, load of them on Pinterest, Instagram, clearly, and if you're hip and you know football, you kind of like Borussia Dortmund, really, don't you? So your non-football fans going, what are you talking about? Don't worry, you will know soon. They're already loved, they've already got friends, they like going out, and they certainly have access to internet, mobile web, apps, etc. So what are we going to offer them? What are we going to offer them during the World Cup? Well, it was this line of thinking that if they're already Tony Stark, what can Squawka do to turn them into Iron Man? What are we going to offer them? We're going to give them the power to win the arguments, because this is what football fans do. They like to argue with each other. And again, it could be an assumption, but it's not, because we know we've seen all these fans doing this for the last 2 years. We did this in a couple of ways. I'll show you in a second our fantasy game that we released, entirely as a result of this strategy. A few of you that came early might have seen Dave playing around with something called the comparison matrix. I'm not going to take you through that, but it's a pretty powerful tool for fans to use on the web to compare players. We really needed fans to have access on a more location-based sense, because we needed people out and about. Football wasn't always on while you're at home. You're going to be out and about. We had to get our native apps out as well. So we pushed through an iOS V2 release, massively late on our Android release. That happens sometimes, but it got out eventually. And then in terms of the real-time content, which we knew was a big USP for us, we had whole new map centers that we built. So this is an example of, and this is all for free. Anyone can use this while the game's going on. We're showing heat maps of 2 different players playing against each other. It's all shareable into social media. And we massively expanded our content team. We now have about 14 people full-time just in content in the business. And the theory was, if we can nail all these strategies, if we can pull all this together, then suddenly we're building that unbootable combination for the fan. We're letting Tony Stark have access to his suit and become Iron Man in the fan sense. So it sounds mad, but kind of worked for us, and I'll show you why. Here's the results. So real time is really important for us. Social is important for us. Content and understanding how content works. It's not all about data for us. It's informative, fun, and engaging. It's about bringing all those things together. So the Suarez bite, 6:38 p.m. When it actually happened, we got it out. We were the first media outlet in the world to get this picture out. And a lot of people stole this picture, where we have access, as do Perform, to Action Images owned by Reuters. So our guys knew, our content team knew that this picture was going to be uploaded at some point. They were refreshing the database. When's this picture going to be uploaded? When's this picture going to be uploaded? Because the guys on the pitch just taking pictures, upload them. And we're sitting there, we knew it was going to happen. We knew it was going to happen. It's going to be one of those things where we knew once the picture was out, it's going to go viral. The picture came out. It didn't look like this. It was a bit further out. So it went over to the design guys. They zoomed it in, made it a bit more HD. Bang, out it went. We were the first people to get it out. So that was what? 6:38 to 6:56, and it was within about 5 minutes we had nearly 5,000 retweets off of that. So it's about real time, okay? It's about understanding what fans were looking for. Informative, fun part, it was fun, it was pretty fun, and engaging. And then you saw a lot of brands jumping off the back of this as well, and this is very much the real-time marketing concept. Not real-time bidding, totally different thing. Real-time marketing is a different concept. We do a lot of work in this space. I'll show you what we've done here. So you had Snickers jumping on there, you had McDonald's Uruguay jumping on there as well. There's a lot of pretty fun examples. This was a really interesting one, which is more about the data. I don't know if anyone saw, who were they playing when Man U was coming out?
Yeah, I think it's Algeria.
Algeria. So the Germany-Algeria game. And Neuer was an absolute machine in that game. Sweeper keeper, right? He was out, he was getting the ball outside of the area, clearing it. He let his defence play very, very high up, so if a ball came through, he'd be out there sweeping it up. It's 2 examples of what actually happened. And this is where he was interacting with the ball. There's very few goalkeepers you're going to see a heat map like that. And again, that went out, 1,500 retweets off of that. It really does show you that fans are out there looking for this content. It can work. More on the fun stuff, we got out a tweet about is Fabio Capello doing the Sturridge dance. And my phone is linked to the Twitter account for Squawka, because I set it up. And I woke up in the morning, and whenever you get a verified account retweeting you or doing anything, you get a big notification. I looked at it, I was like, Daniel Sturridge, what? And he'd obviously been trawling, but that was actually on the morning that England were playing, so probably says a lot about England. That was a few very, very quick examples of how we've been using content in real time during the World Cup, and it was a result of that strategy. Give fans more, because what's happening is when see the Manuel Neuer heat map going out, those fans, they know that other fans are watching it. Fans want to be the first. They want to be there first before their friends. So if you can offer up that content, you're expanding out your brand innumerably. I think we had somewhere around 400 million brand impressions for just us in social media over the World Cup. It was pretty big. So we're an ad-driven business. So everything we do for fans is free, and it always will be, absolutely. So what we try and do is we try and tie into that real-time marketing aspect. One of the famous examples, which many of you who've heard me speak before, heard me say before, is for Domino's Pizza, where 15 minutes into a match, we dynamically change all the ads to say, here's your halftime voucher code, so Tim, order your pizza now, you'll have it at halftime. Did really well, won those awards for it, and we kind of have that ethos for what we do. This was an interesting campaign because it was the first ever that we've tried with a brand who was an official World Cup sponsor, so for Continental. Now, they told us a really interesting story when we went into pitch, and they said, we sponsored the last World Cup in South Africa as well. We've got all these assets as a rights holder, and we have access to World Cup final tickets, as many as we want, it's fine. We want to give them away, and last competition, we gave them away to the Sun to give away, build our association with football using these assets. And at the end of the competition, there was one guy who won it. He's on a plane next to the Continental rep, and the Continental guy says to him, "Oh, you must be really thrilled going to the World Cup final." And the guy said, "Yeah, I can't believe the Sun are sending me to the World Cup." He said, "No, we're sending you." He said, "Who are you?" He said, "We're Continental." "Oh, you're the airline?" He said, "No, we're Continental Tires." That one conversation built the entire brief for this campaign. It was really about understanding how, using our methodologies, we can really bring that association together. And my background's all advertising anyway, so this is kind of my dream, really. So it's the first time we've ever done this. We built a competition mechanic. Actually, before I go there, we built a competition mechanic. We built a competition mechanic where we wanted to engage fans in a whole new way using data specifically. So it's only a 5-day campaign. We had one day where we would say to fans throughout Twitter and our own platform, guess how many passes Xavi's going to make in this game? You've got up to half time to submit your answer. And we would update the visualizations in real time, not just across our site, not just across Twitter, but via an agreement with Opta. We allowed the data to be pushed into the creative that Continental were buying, or their media agent was buying on third-party sites as well. So what this meant was you might be on, and actually we ran across goal.com as well, Guardian, Sky Sports. You'll be on one of those sites, and you have a competition banner at the top. The passes will be updating every 30 seconds alongside how long you had left to enter this competition. Suddenly, the broadcast you gave to this one competition metric was pretty vast. So this was kind of the flow. We've built our own proprietary real-time ad tech. It can be tailored to any sport, any live feed that's coming through. We even take it to weather, and it can change creative dynamically. So we went through their ad server. We built a landing page on our site, which hosted all the traffic. And this updated as well with all the graphics, just to really maximise the campaign. And this is an example of what it looked like on goal.com. So you can see this was one for Ronaldo's shots. These are shots coming in. What was really interesting is we called the campaign Conti Predicts. It was, where have I got this slide? Have I got this slide somewhere? It was basically trend. I think it went to a UK trend within about half an hour. It was a worldwide trend on the first day of the World Cup within an hour, basically. That was like the power of that planned, concerted campaign. It had a lot of good press, got 42 million impressions out of it altogether, which is pretty good. And again, it was a global trend. I won't go through all the tiny little details, so I guess I'm running out of time, probably. But I guess these slides will be circulated afterwards. But what we were doing is we used Crimson Hexagon and a number of other tools to really try and figure out what audience was engaging and what the audience was for that campaign. And we could basically manage to prove that they were X times more likely to be engaged in football, X times more likely to be that continental buyer at the end of the day. And this is the best bit. This is some of the winner tweets. We had 5 pairs that we gave away of World Cup final tickets. And some of it was just awesome. We were sat in the office, and obviously we couldn't enter. So we're just watching these winner tweets come back through, and it was pretty amazing when you've got people tweeting saying, "This is the best thing that's ever happened to me." This guy was great. Absolute dream come true. How am I supposed to concentrate and work for the rest of the day? So we're all just sitting there imagining, like, this guy's just got like the greatest prize ever. It's just so good because it's flights, it's hotels, it's everything. So yeah, that went really well. We had lots of complimentary tweets as well. We had people starting engaging, tweeting us and Continental saying, I love my Continental tyres on my bike, for example. You know, I would say, oh, you can't buy it, but you can. They did. But this kind of engagement is so valuable to a brand like Continental that's trying to associate themselves more with football. It's fun, it's informative, and it was engaging. That was the campaign. They've rebooked again for another 2 years, which is probably our biggest deal ever. The last one I want to show you was Just Eat, and what we did for them. It was very simple, and this was leveraging the audience we'd already built through digital, mainly through Twitter. Some of you might have seen this. Some of you might have even sent in entries for this, because it got really, really big, the Takeaway 11. It's about brand awareness, it's about reputation, and it was about orders and downloads as well. So we ran it was only a four-hour campaign, totally pun-based, absolutely pun-based. It's what football fans like. It's the fun aspect of it. It's the fun aspect of it, right? Yeah, Patrick Berger, yeah, obvious one. But the prizes that they gave us was crazy. Like, you know, it was a paid-for campaign. It's a good deal for us. But the brand really backed it in getting consumers to engage. So PlayStation freeze. We had my favourite one was a £50 takeaway voucher. Oh, come on, I'll take that with PlayStation any day. I don't have time to play PlayStation. I have time to eat, just about. We had a good prize. We had a simple mechanic, but one we knew would work. There was no doubt this campaign was going to do really, really well. So in 4 hours, we had 2,400 entries. So it's a global Twitter trend. It's a UK trend for 2 hours as well. Lots of people entered this. There were some very funny ones, some not so funny ones. I'll show you what the winning team was in a second as well. But just for example, we've got Peter Chicken Odemwingie, Alex Oxtail Chamberlain, Leighton Baines on toast, Julio Cesar salad, Sean Wright fillets. There's loads. We won't go through all of them. And again, we were analysing through things like Crimson Hexagon, looking at the tools to report back on this campaign to actually say, look, how did this work? How did we engage people? Who were the people we engaged? What were their demographic? You know, if we're driving a great campaign that gets lots of engagement, but it's the wrong user, then, you know, that's our fault. You know, we should be tailoring this better. However, we managed to nail it bang on, which was great. So there's the final team, the final 11 that we got out. Garlic Fred's probably my favourite, which is chicken tikka masala was quite nice. And again, these are all just picked by people over a 4-hour period. These guys are loving it. Like, you done? Okay. Well, you're done, I'm done. That's the last slide. But again, this is just an example of how we managed to build a very large audience over a 2-year period to execute campaigns like this for the World Cup. And for us, it was about turning every fan into Iron Man for us. And that's it.